What's up, guys? Welcome to Stuff with Steffi. So today I decided I wanted to tell you guys a story, and I decided that this time I was going to put on my makeup while I tell the story, because why not? I never know what to do when I'm telling you guys a story. It's just a bunch of awkward hand motions. Okay, so now that I've primed my skin, we can really get started. This story, I think it was a year ago. So no, it was over a year ago. I still had my job where I was working in retail. So we got another, crazy customer story. And I was still working retail, right? It was before the pandemic hit, well, I got fired during the pandemic. Well, not really fired. They claim I quit, but I didn't quit because they kept putting me on leave because I was showing symptoms of COVID. But that's a rant for another time. So I was still working in retail, and I was doing the stocking because that was the only thing I ever did there. For whatever reason, well, I know the reason. They just didn't want to move people from the stocking positions. So I was stocking in the cosmetics aisles, which is what I did more often than not. But for whatever reason in cosmetics, I ended up getting a lot of customers looking for things in other parts of the stores. And I ended up having to walk a lot of them there. Because you can't just tell people where things are at more often than not anymore. And I was working, and this guy came up, this little old man, probably like, I want to say he was like 5'6", comes up to me and decides, and just for context on why he probably asked this, is, so this particular store was part of this big corporation, and they just so happened to have several shootings at other stores in weeks leading up to this. Well, not weeks leading up to this, but fairly right before this. He comes up to me and he asks me if I conceal carry. Which, sets off a lot of red flags. Who just walks up to a stranger and, well, he asked where an item was, and I tried to tell him. This man, he comes up to me and he asks me where an item is, and I try to tell him. I told him the aisle, I told him what end of the aisle, I told him where at on the shelf it is, like down to, like, it was on the bottom shelf. And this dude just stood there. Just sort of chilled there. And so I got up, I was like, I'm gonna have to walk him there. So I get up and I start walking him, and we walk out of the aisle, and I start leading him to this item, which is just, mind you, this item is like 6 aisles down. So not that far. But we start walking, and this is why this is part of the reason why I never like to interact with customers, is because of this dude, who legitimately, as soon as we started walking, as soon as we turned the corner from the aisle we were in, asks me if I conceal carry. And for starters, I still can't buy a handgun. It is still not legal for me to buy a handgun. I am too young. What am I supposed to conceal carry? And I told the guy, I was like, no, I can't conceal carry. But I was like, these alarms were going off in my head, and I was like, okay, I need to get away from this dude as soon as I possibly can. And we get walking, and he's like, no, you can conceal carry unless you're a felon. Are you a felon? And I told him, no, I'm not a felon. I'm too young. And he's like, no, you're over 18, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. Because at this point I was 19. He was like, then you can conceal carry. You don't even have to go get a license for it. You do. You need to get a license to conceal carry. I don't know what this dude was on that he thinks you don't need one, but you do. I even Googled it. Still to this day, you need a license to conceal carry. So this dude's just, you know, I don't know. I don't know what this dude's on. I don't know why he thinks you don't need a license to conceal carry. And I even checked my state's laws to see, you know, what it says. I am still too young. And you still, you know, need a license. But anyways, I digress. Anyways, so I'm walking with this guy, he asks me that, and I tell him no. And I tell him I'm pretty sure that's not legal. And he was like, no, they passed a law. The Senate passed a law that you don't need a license to conceal carry anymore. I was like, no they didn't. And we keep going. And this guy's like, yeah, you need to get a gun. You should all be concealed carrying here. He started talking about it, and he was like, I never leave home without my gun. I was like, okay, red flag. They're all going off right now. This dude, not only does he think he does not need a license to conceal carry, this man always carries a gun. Which, I get some people do it. Most people that do, I hope most people that do it have their concealed carry licenses. If you don't, get one. Because you need one. And so I'm walking and I'm going like as quick as I think this old dude can walk. I am rushing and just saying, I got a few inches on this dude. I got plenty of weight on this dude, so I was like, okay, maybe I can take him down, but I don't really want to do that. And this man tells me that I need to go get it because of what's been happening on at these other stores, right? And so we're going, and it sounds, you know, the way I'm telling it, it sounds like he's concerned, but I really don't think he was. I don't think he actually was concerned. But this guy keeps going. Just keeps talking about it, keeps talking about guns, and keeps talking about how good it is that he doesn't have to have a license and the government doesn't have to know he's packing it. We get about to the aisle, and this man, you know what this man does? This man legitimately reaches into his pocket and pulls out the butt of his gun. Like, to the trigger. Up to the trigger was out of his pocket. So I was, like, internally losing it, but I kept my cool, and he slid it back into his pocket, right? And then we get to the item, and I get him his item, and I try to leave. He just will not stop talking. And I'm trying so hard to get out of there, but like, I could get in a lot of trouble for being rude to customers, so I was trying my hardest to not be rude to this dude, despite the fact that, you know, he just showed me a freaking gun. And oh goodness. This is not going well. And you know, you think you'd get out of there with nothing else happening. Nope. I had a problem with camera space, but I got my eyeliner done while I was freeing up some space on my phone. Anyways, so I'm in this aisle with this guy who thinks that it's perfectly fine to carry a gun without having a concealed carry license, right? And I'm trying to get away. And the nicest little Hispanic couple came up, and they were so sweet. I felt I felt kind of bad that they didn't know what was happening here, or that this dude had a gun. But I'm standing there and they come up, and the wife, oh, they're so quiet. She seemed kind of timid, and she asked me where this item was, and, well, she started to ask me about this item, and she got like half of it, and then she had to turn to her husband because she forgot what the other part of the name of the product was, and they started talking to each other real quietly. And as soon as this lady spoke to me, I kid you not, I see out of the corner of my eye, because this dude's standing here in the corner of my eye, right? This dude reaches for his pocket and has his hand on, like, the top of his pocket where the gun is. And so, you know, all the alarms were going off, all them bells and whistles. I don't know what this dude was thinking. And it only seems to get worse. The longer I was around this guy, it all just seemed to get worse. Now, technically, what I'm supposed to do is scream and start a panic. What I was supposed to do from the second he showed me the butt of his gun, I was supposed to scream and start a panic. But I don't like to start panics. And I didn't actually, up until this point, I didn't actually think he might do something. But this dude sees this Hispanic couple, and she comes up and she asks me about where this item, and the wife asks me where this item is, and he grabs the butt of his gun, and I just sort of slide in front of him. So he's behind me, and this little couple's in front of me, and luckily they're even shorter than he is, and they're kind of petite. So I would have been completely blocking them. And I made sure of that. And this dude is just standing back there. He's just standing back there real quiet, just keeping an eye on this couple. And after they determined what the full product title was, the wife asks me real quietly, and I lean towards her and I told her exactly where to go to. And there's no doubt in my mind that this dude could not hear me. And I told this woman exactly where to go to, and I told her that there'd be a guy in the aisle she could ask to find exactly where it was at, but that was as close as I could get her. And so her and her husband thank me, and then they take off. Okay, so I once again started having problems with my camera, and let's hope third time's a charm. So I've already went ahead and done my contour, and I think where it cut out was me talking about how I just got the Hispanic couple to leave, right? I told them where the item was, and they took off. And this guy immediately dropped his hand from where his gun was. He just dropped his hand, and he let out a sigh of relief. Like, this dude was on edge because other people were shopping. Because people of a different ethnicity than him were shopping. Like, that is insane to me. Why? Why in the world is this dude that uncomfortable around? Like, that's racism. That's gotta be that's the only reason I could come up with that he would be uncomfortable. And this guy, as soon as they walk away, you know what this man says to me? He lets out that sigh of relief, and he goes, "I thought they were white." I was sort of thinking, what? And I was just standing there. He goes, "I thought they were white," but then they started talking in Spanish. Side note, not a single word they said was in Spanish. It was completely in English. Even when they were trying to figure out the name the word for the name for the product. It was completely in English. And this dude made that comment, and I was like, they didn't speak any Spanish. It was all English. And I was just sort of baffled as to why this guy, first off, why it would matter. Secondly, why this guy would change his opinion on what their ethnicity is because he thought they were speaking a different language, and why he thinks that people talking quietly is people talking in another language. Maybe it's because he realized they're Hispanic. Maybe that's why he thought that they were speaking in Spanish when they were just speaking English really quietly. Because it was like, it was all really quiet, and they were like, you know, they were the kind of customers that I loved, because it was like, if you can't help us, that's fine. We will just go look for it on our own, but if you do know where this is, then can you tell us? Which is my favorite kind of customer. They're the nicest ones to be around. They don't try to force you to go anywhere. This man's never heard of Spain, has he? You know, in Europe. And also, I was wondering why in the world this dude thinks white people can't speak Spanish at all. I can't think of a single high school that I have seen that does not teach Spanish. But like, I was completely baffled. And this guy kept going. Still not letting me go. Still keeps on talking. And by the time he actually stopped talking, which it's probably a good thing, by the time this man stopped talking, there was definitely enough time for that couple to have made it to their aisle and found that item, and poof, gone. So I'm kind of glad he didn't stop talking. And this man gets talking, and his daughter, he was, so I speak a little Spanish, and I was like, yeah, I speak some Spanish. I'm white. What's the issue here? And this dude goes, well, I guess white people can speak Spanish too. My daughter speaks it. Every time she calls me on the phone, she starts speaking Spanish. I just started thinking, First off, I do the same thing to my dad. He gets Spanish when we talk on the phone. Secondly, what the heck? What is this man's thought process? Eventually, he finally decides it's time to leave. And at some point in the interaction, I don't remember when it was, but at some point in the interaction, he did say that that was the only item he was coming in to get, which is very good, because he needed to go. He needed out of there. After a little bit, he finally stops talking, and I can finally get away from him. After, it was a very wild ride. And I legitimately thought this dude was going to also end up shooting at the store, because, you know, those shootings at the same kind of store I had mentioned before, yeah, all of them were racially driven and against Hispanic people. So yeah, high alert. Keep an eye out, guys. He is not the only person that I met at the store packing a gun. He is the first one to, like, all the others packed them in holsters or kept quiet about it. I don't know why in the world you would just run around, like, showing employees your gun. I don't know how in the world that dude thought that's probably the best scenario for him. Because honestly, I should have gone and tried to get a cop involved as soon as the dude showed me the gun. hindsight's 20/20, guys. I actually told a manager about it the day after it happened. She was so upset with me. She was like, she started freaking out a little bit, and she was like, "You're lucky you didn't get shot." And, like, I was just baffled by the whole situation. And it's not even the only alarming thing to happen that week. And I might tell you guys what else happened that week. The other alarming things later on. And yeah, I know I should really be using these for this, but I have gotten lashes stuck to these way too many times. I'd much rather have them stick to my finger. So, I'm finished with this look. How does it look? I like it. Anyways, so stay safe out there, guys. You don't know who's got a gun. You don't know what they're scared of, what irrational fears they have. And, like, just stay safe. Don't be like this guy. Nobody should be like this guy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I hope you enjoyed seeing me put on my makeup. I know I've got a bit weird angle stuff going on here because my mirror's down here and my camera's up there. I've also got this mic in the way. I probably shouldn't have touched it. I've also got this mic in the way that may or may not show. I don't know how far I'm gonna zoom this in, and I keep accidentally kneeing the table, but hey! That's life. Anyways, I hope to see you guys again next week, and next week if all goes well, next week I will be doing a video where I'm opening and swatching some new makeup I ordered, and I hope you guys come back and watch it if you enjoyed this. If you like my stories better, with me actually doing something while telling them, because I decided to do this so I'd have something to do while telling the stories, and also because I wanted to make makeup videos, and I'm not good enough for tutorials. Or am I? Anyways. I'm not. I know I'm not. I don't have that much practice in. Nor do I have any training. Anyways. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want more content like this. You can check out this playlist over here that I picked out that's related to content like this. I hope you can't hear that train. It is loud and it is sudden, and I'm not staying on here that long. Or you can check out this video that YouTube picked out just for you. And I hope to see you guys back here next week. Bye!